Carl here from Brrraaains A Head-Banging Life with a review of Landmvrks' new release. Landmvrks back with an absolute vengeance after successfully building a reputation they really have through asserting their own style on the 2018 masterpiece Fantasy. The band returning with fresher and heavier intent than ever before. Third album, Lost in the Waves, due for release on the 19th of March 2021 via a rising empire. Man, Landmvrks, for me anyway, one of the most exciting modern metalcore bands. Caught them live a few times, they've always blown me away, and they can always be counted on when it comes to the studio music to deliver bangers. A band as well that's not afraid to push boundaries. Something they once again do here, and I think of Visage, a track later on in the album, when I think about that boundary pushing. Lost in the Waves seems to be them really growing into their skins, finding their voices, and ensuring that I think both old and new fans will come away very, very satisfied. It's very compact, very concise. Lost in the Waves is a little over 30 minutes of what is passionate metalcore, blending various ideas and some very clever tricks to keep the momentum strong over the 10 tracks. I really like that, by the way. I really like that this is only 10 tracks in about 30 minutes. A lot of metalcore bands tend to go towards the 13-14 minute mark and want to push to the 40-minute mark, and sometimes it can get a little bit long in the tooth. So it's nice how concise this album is. Beginning in a breakdown heaven with Lost in a Wave, a frenzied pit opener that is the perfect example of this band's thirst for recognition. It's a banger of a start. But speaking of bangers though, Rainfall starts so fucking hot and doesn't let up for a second. Landmvrks at their wildest. The vocals, man, are spat out at an insane pace, and they get so damn guttural at times. Insanity. I think this might be my favourite track in the album. I mean, even as I'm talking about it there, I'm reliving that track in my head, and I just want to get so passionate about it. I hope you feel the same. But after that, a little bit of a breather is in order, and Silent gives it, kind of, with the kind of rockier start before it kicks into hyperactivity. That is more in line with what we've heard so far. However, a cleaner and groovier chorus with mellower tones that follow that part makes a nice change of pace at this stage. It's here though we run into the possible polarizing effort in the form of Visage, the track I mentioned before, where electronica beats and rap soft singing take center stage. Thing is, it's Landmvrks showcase and variety, and of course the track moves to a much higher and more metal gear after a bit, but it is one that I can see many people going, oh, I don't like that at all, I don't like that at all, and it put a bit of a downer on the album as a whole, which is a real shame, because even if you don't like it, and I don't particularly care for it, it's unique and it's experimentation, and there's so much quality around it. So like, if that previous one left you feeling a little bit cold, as it did me, tired of it all and saying a word warm things back up. The former with some nice mellow edges to the frantic instrumentation and with a ton of sing-along quality to it. This is the live baby in my opinion. While the latter refocuses on brutality with some of the heaviest guitars and drums heard so far. Vocally, this one pure chaos. Bouncy riffs, catchy singing, and a less intense offering with Always is another surprise from a band that at this stage I was kind of just like, okay, you just keep delivering surprise after surprise after surprise, and I generally don't know what's coming next, which I loved. Shoreline is 34 seconds of the sound of waves and impending doom that serves basically as an intro for the stunning ruthlessness of Overrated. A racing slab of metalcore noise with a pop-punkish style chorus. That sounds like it really shouldn't work. It really shouldn't, right? But it really fucking does. Such is the talent and imagination of this band. It is, no pun intended, a landmark release for Landmvrks that comes to a close with the band's most powerfully melodic and mellow offering. Clean singing that soars high, emotive and effective. It's a low energy finish, even when it explodes into life in the final minute, but it is a fucking classy closer. Brilliant. This album is brilliant. Even with taking a Visage, which is a track I don't particularly care for, into account, this release is top shelf stuff. The sort of release that turns a band into superstars. I mean, Landmvrks were already a big and dependable name before this release, but this is just the rocket to send them into the stratosphere. There's so many unique things going on here. So many tracks where you can go, oh my god, that is making my eyes water through the sheer heaviness of it. Or, oh man, that kind of makes me feel a little bit emotional. That's touched me there. Or this track has some danceable quality to it and I want to sing along to it and I can hear the crowd all singing that chorus and things like that. Across 10 tracks, it's a wide array and it works. It all flows really, really well together. Nothing sounds out of place except maybe Visage. But even that, I mean, its position and what's around it, I don't really have a massive problem with it being there. I really don't. It's just not the track that really stood out for me at all. I love this. I think this album is going to go down such a storm. Lost in the Waves, out on March 19th, 2021 via A Rising Empire. Do you love it as much as I do? And more interestingly, I think, what do you think of Visage, that particular track? Let me know in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and Tumblr. Go to Patreon and help us out over there. That's patreon.com/gbhbl as well as Big Cartel where you can find some of our merchandise. We have a podcast running on SoundCloud and Apple Podcasts. And of course, if you like this video, do us a favour, hit the subscribe button and help the channel grow. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?